Kia ora, hello, harimai, welcome to the channel. I'm Noel Hayvice. Sorry I haven't been on for a while. Again, all sorts of things going on in my world, including supporting a family member. Recently, I've just come back from Christchurch, supporting a family member who had to go down there for surgery, so I've been away down there for almost a week. But yeah, lots going on. But anyway, I'm back talking to camera, and I'd like to start this video off talking about a recent release from a local Pōneke band called TAHINI BIKINI. Now this album, which is called Live at the Dome Cinema, recorded in June of last year. It's a live album recorded in June of last year in Tairāwhiti, aka Gisborne, in the North Island, and it's only just been released very recently, tied in with a live gig they did at the Moon Bar in Newtown, Wellington here. Now, here's the album. This is what it looks like, the cover, right? Try and bring that in a bit closer for you without too much reflection. And then on the back, kind of looks like that, right? There's all the track listings and the band down there. So as I said, released live at the Dome Cinema in Tairāwhiti. Was recorded on 21st of June 2025, but only just released very recently to tie in with a live gig they did at the Moon Bar in Newtown. I love this album. The other thing I want to add is that they haven't released this on all streaming platforms. There's just one they haven't released it on, and that's Spotify, because like Tiki Tane and several other New Zealand artists, and of course quite a few overseas artists, they have pulled their Spotify off for various reasons. The obvious one being Spotify pay musicians and artists the least of any of the streaming services. It's such a small amount. But the other reason also is a political reason to do with, evidently, the IDF, Israeli Defense Force, were helped by the CEO of Spotify, whose name I'm not sure of. I do know it, but I can't remember it offhand. He's a Swedish guy who donated millions and millions of dollars. This is how well Spotify are doing, to the IDF for drones to be used as help in their war and their bomb dropping and killing of people in the Gaza Strip, all the Palestinians. So that's the other reason they've taken it off. But as I say, a lot of people simply take it off for the fact that Spotify pay the least of any streaming services. Now, this album, I was lucky to go to the gig, which was an incredible gig at Moon. There it is again, live at the Dome Cinema. This album was available at that gig for the first time ever. And on July the 1st, it will be, you can also get it before July the 1st. You can go to their Bandcamp page, TAHINI BIKINI on Bandcamp, and buy a copy of either the CD or you can download the MP3s, digital tracks, or whatever form they come in. I think you've got options there of what sort of digital download you want. I think that's a bit cheaper. I think the CD to buy is still $20. I'm not sure if there's possibly a charge for postage within New Zealand, or I'm not sure on that. I haven't looked into it, but I bought the CD at the gig and paid the same $20. So there may be postage, I'm not sure. But what else was going to say that? So I love it. It's an incredible album. I'm a big fan of this band and have been since I first saw them back quite a few years ago. The main leader and songwriter of the band, Madeline Taylor, otherwise known as Maddie Taylor, writes a lot of their lyrics, and of course the music's helped put together by various other members of the band. I don't think currently there's any other original members of the band, but there are some members that have been with the band quite a while now. So I'll just read out the tracks. Some of you who are familiar with Tahini Bikini will know some of these songs. So first track is Electric Lady. Number 2 is Breakdown Service. 3 is Jackie Treehorn. 4 is Money. 5 is Waste My Time. 6 is Life's a Beach. 7 is Reality. 8 is Where Do We Go? And 9 is Mother. Now, if you go into their Bandcamp, you'll see that they have released one other album quite a few years back, which was called Fever Dream. I think the only song that I can remember that's from that album is perhaps Life's a Beach. Maybe Jackie Treehorn. There may be one other, but most of them are newer songs since then. They have released quite a few singles in between this album and the first one, Fever Dream. Fever Dream you can also buy on Bandcamp, and I guess it's available, I presume, on all streaming services bar Spotify now. I can't be sure, but it's definitely available on Bandcamp as well as this one. So as I say, on July the 1st, it'll also be available on all streaming services except Spotify. Just giving you the lineup of the band on here. It's in very small print, quite hard to read. So it's, as it says here, Mads Taylor on vocals, Matthew Campbell on vocals and percussion, Alex Scott Billing on guitars, Darcy Monteith on bass, Lennox Grootjans on drums, Aidan McCulloch on keyboards and saxophones, Cameron Robertson on trumpet, and Cheviet Fraser on trombone. So, and the album's dedicated to their friend Sally, whoever that is. What else does it say? The live recording was done by Simon Blackwell, mixed by Poncho del Costello. Interesting. And it was mastered by Downbeat Mastering. So go out and have a listen and buy it if you can afford it. You know, you can hear it on Bandcamp, and you'll soon be able to hear it on all the streaming services. For me, there's not a dud track on it, but I'm a big fan, so maybe a wee bit biased. Yeah, so that's good. The CD, if you open it up, it's because it's released themselves and not through a record label, and they there's nothing fancy to the inside. There's just the where is it? This design on here. That's just the back of the cover. There's nothing else there with the pull out, and then the CD with just that, looks like that, right? So that's what you get, but I'm quite happy to have it, and I'm very happy to have it. What else did I want to say about that? Oh yes, so in September, I don't think Tahini have got any gigs coming up in the next, what are we now? August, September. Maybe October might be the next one, or maybe late September. But what I do know is that they will be, Maddie and will be going over there, and also over to the UK, over to London in September, because on September and I haven't got this date here, I should have, let me just have a look, bear with me. So they're doing a gig in September in London and they're bringing in Harry Scholes, aka Harrison Scholes, who now lives over there, who did play with the band for a while before he left and to the UK, and they're getting together with Harry and another Kiwi, Ryder Smith, a drummer, who I don't know if he played with TAHINI, but he did play with Maddie in another band they put together with singer Lee Stewart. I've forgotten the name of that band. Was it Good Luck? No, something. And they wrote a whole lot of material. So I know Ryder has played with Maddie. He possibly did do a few gigs with TAHINI. I'm not sure on that. But he's over there now, and they will get together. And I guess I'm not sure if they will pull in any other Kiwi musicians. Maybe they'll add in a few English musicians from there to the band. But they're going to do a gig there, and I'm just trying to find you the date on that. Just bear with me. Hang on a sec. It's September the something. Here we go. Here we go. It will be in London on September the 14th. Okay. TAHINI BIKINI doing a gig in London. It's a one-off, and four Kiwis, two of them living over there, will be out of from playing in the band. And the venue is called the Hope and Anchor. The Hope and Anchor in Islington. So that's on September the 14th. And the support act is someone called Jemima White. I don't know if she's from here or she's from over there. But I'm sure that'll be exciting. Yeah, that's exciting thing for them. So I guess they'll be back. I think they're over there for about 3 weeks. Or Maddie is at least. And I guess that means they probably won't do a gig back here in September if they're over there then for a gig. Although I'm not sure exactly when they go over. I think they go over sometime in September. So they may be back for a gig in either late September at the earliest, probably seems unlikely, or October. So till then, you know, go and enjoy the new album. It's incredible. It's a great recording for a live recording. And evidently this venue, what's it called? The Dome Cinema in Tairāwhiti, Gisborne. I was talking to Lennox, the drummer, on this, who's also gone overseas, but he's actually in Australia, talking to him online recently, and he said that he'd never been to that venue before, but he said it's an amazing venue, really interesting venue. I've never heard anyone talk about the fact that it's in a cinema. I don't know if it's still a cinema. I've never heard any other musos talk about, and I know a few musicians from Tairāwhiti, Gisborne, talk about this as a live music venue. So it sounds quite interesting. So there you go for any other budding artists and bands heading up that way. See if you can do a gig there, because evidently it's quite an amazing venue. There was something else I was going to add. Oh, if you happen to be in London, you can get tickets, or you're going over coincidentally, or you're going to be over there around the same time, via Dice FM. I presume that's an English radio station. I don't know. Haven't looked into that side of it. Okay, I'd love to go, but I won't be going unless I have a windfall between, pardon me, there and then. Anyway, so yeah, that's interesting. And just adding to that, I've mentioned it before in other videos. Harry, as I said, is already over there. Ryder will be over there. We also know that Sam Notman, another drummer, I don't think Sam ever played with them, but he's a great New Zealand drummer. He's over there and he's playing with Harry, and they're both playing with Arjuna Oakes, another Kiwi who's over there. And not so long ago, Louisa Williamson, the amazing saxophone player from Porniki, is over there as well. So I don't know if maybe they'll bring her in to join them on the gig. There's a thought. I don't know. So yeah, that's interesting. And speaking of Kiwis overseas, I want to talk a little bit now. Oh, and before I get into that, I talked to Maddie recently, and she's keen to do an interview on the channel here. So I'm going to bring her in. It'll probably be closer to the time before she heads off to the UK. So it may be early September, late August. And that'll be good, because then we can talk all about this album. She can give us more of a lowdown on it, and talk about the history of Tahini Bikini, and also Maddie's own musical history, how the band came about, and what she used to do since, and other things she's done outside that. So I look forward to that, and I'm hoping, well, I think possibly we'll be able to play some of this, because at least, even though if Maddie's cool with that and it's going on YouTube, you know, we may not play whole tracks, but we'll play bits of tracks. There'll be no bloody record company arseholes who will go after you for copyright, you know, which they all do with a lot of the music channel people, unless you're Rick Beato, right, who is sort of, everybody knows, is the king or the most successful music YouTuber, because he pays lawyers to fight all the copyright claims under fair use, and he wins. Because it is stupid, because sometimes, you know, they only play a few seconds or 10 seconds of a song. I mean, come on. And the crazy thing is, they're helping to promote that music, you know, but it's not the artists or the bands that are going after us on YouTube with copyright. It's and it's not YouTube themselves, it's the record companies, right, that have these artists signed to them. They're the arseholes. They really are. But anyway, that's that. And I want to, while I'm on the subject of Kiwis overseas, I want to talk about Fat Freddy's Drop, right? So, Fat Freddy's Drop, a legendary band also from Porniki to Whanganui-a-Tara, Wellington, been around for a long time now, a good 20 years or more, and they're on a tour at the moment, and they're in Europe, right? I was lucky enough to see them, the first concert since one of their founder members and a big influence on the whole band's sound, Moo, you know, who did a lot of their sound effects, keys and beats and all sorts of things. He passed away last year, and there was no one knew if they were still going to stay together, because he was a big loss to Fat Freddy's. But anyway, they have got back together, and for the first time, they have used a real drummer in the past, but not only for short periods. Mostly they haven't. They've used drum machines, etc. But they now have in the band the amazing Corey Champion, also from Porniki, and Corey, as far as I know, is based in Oz now. I think he's based in Sydney. I'm not sure, but I know he's gone over to live there. But he's back here a lot. And so Corey's playing live drums for them, and they've also brought in the amazing Johnny Lawrence, an incredible bass player who's played with everybody, also from this town. God, we put out some good musos. I'm just saying that. You know, I'm sure there's lots, and I know there are lots of good musicians in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. I don't live up there, so I'm not in amongst the scene, getting out in amongst it, so I don't know, but I know there is a lot of good musicians living up there as well. But I'm just quite proud of the city, and been a lot smaller, but the amazing musicians it puts out and who are venturing overseas. In fact, Freddy's are venturing overseas. They're in Europe right at the moment, and I was fortunate enough to see them, as I alluded to, on the first gig they did back at Meow Nui. When was it? Oh, God. Was it May? March, April. Might have been April. I'm not sure. At the very first one they did with the new drummer, new bass player, and of course Conway June, who, although he's been with them a little bit now, he is probably the other most recent member of the band. I think Conway he just joined them before they released Slow-Mo and got to play on that, and went on a short European tour then with them. Good timing, Conway. So he's with them, and it just, I don't know, for me, those guys, and probably because I know them best, but there's something magical about them. And the other, you know, the other original members and the long-time members of Fat Freddy's, they're a lot older guys. You know, I don't know their exact age. They must be getting up into their 50s. A lot of the, like Dallas and Joe Lindsay and all them. I'm not sure, but they're definitely a lot older. So when Conway joined, he was, you know, Conway must be, at a guess, I think he went to school with my older two, tamariki, my older two children, and he's in between their ages, so that would put him at about, let me think about this, he'd be about 33 or 34, I think, Conway. So he's way younger than the older members. And Conway and Corey might be around his age, or they might be a little bit older, but they're still quite younger than. So it's good having those younger members in the band. You know, there's nothing like that mix of experience and older maturity, and then the more younger, vigorous, energetic. It's always a good combo in my view. Anyway, what else? Let's see. Okay, Fat Freddy's, that's what we're on to. So here's my ADHD cooking in, but it's no excuse. Let's move on to it. I've got a few notes here to remind me, but I'm not looking at them, you know, and I do get off track sometimes, but that's how I roll. Fat Freddy's are on a tour of Europe, and I just want to talk about that a bit. Let me just find the guff on this. Where are we? Okay. So, I'm looking at the dates here. So what are we today? God, almost lost track of the date. Is it the, let's just check on this. It's the 17th. Okay. And they're sort of, I guess, more or less a day behind. Anyway, actually there's no date for the 17th, but on the 16th, which could be our 17th, they play in, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this, they were in Prague. You know, Prague, that's the old Czechoslovakia. Has it got another name now? I think it's still Czechoslovakia, I don't know. They were in Prague on the 13th, and they're in Warsaw. Oh, sorry, they were in the Warsaw on the 14th. I've already forgot what day I said it was. It's the 17th. But the next gig they've probably done Warsaw by now, is in Krakow, wherever that is, at the Club Studio, and it's spelt with a K. The 18th are in Vienna, right? 19th, this is all in June, they're in Budapest. The 20th, they're in a place called Zagreb. I'm not sure what country that is. 22, they're in Munich, which is Germany. And the 23rd, they're in Cologne at the Palladium. Now, there's a big jump. That's right to the end of June. The next gig in Europe's not till September. So I imagine they're going to head back home for, say, I don't know. I think so. I don't think, as successful as they are, I don't think they'd have the financial capacity to, I could be wrong because they're quite a big band, to stay around in Europe till their September. The rest, they do more of Europe in September, right through to London and Scotland towards the tail end of it. But it starts in Lisbon in Spain on September the 3rd. So that would mean July, August. They got 2 months. They got to be back here. They must be, right? So, but then they go on an extensive tour, a more extensive tour of Europe and the UK. So shall I read them off? For any overseas viewers, and I think most of my viewers are from Aotearoa, but I never look at my stats or my analytics that much that tell you all that. But for those of you who do live in Europe, if you're watching, September goes like this. On the 3rd, they're in Lisbon, Spain, at the Sagri Campo Pequeno. On 4, they're in the Madrid, which of course is also in Spain, in the La Riviera. And on 6, they're in Barcelona, also in Spain, at the Razzmatazz. This is September. On September the 8th, they're in Toulouse at the Le BIKINI, which of course is France. And on the 30th, they're in Milano, of course that's Italy, otherwise known as Milan, at a place called the Alcatraz. And then in October, on the 1st, they're in Rome at the Atlantico Live. It's the name of the venue or place. On the 20th, on the 2nd, they're in Bologna at the Estrogen. The 4th, they're in Zurich at Switzerland at the Extra. On 6th, they're in Lyon at the Le Radiant. This is back into France by the looks. 7th, they're in Bordeaux at the Rocher de Parma. 9th, they're in this is October, of Nantes in the Zenith Nantes. 10th, they're in Paris, France at the Zenith de Paris. And on 12th, they're in the Netherlands at Amsterdam. 12th, 13th, 14th. 3 nights in Amsterdam at the Paradiso. Then finally getting towards the tail end of it, they go over to the UK where they're on the 16th, they're in Bristol at the Prospect Building. The 17th, they're in Manchester at the O2 Apollo. The 19th, they're in Nottingham Rock City. And the 20th of October, they're in Leeds at the O2 Academy. The 22nd of October, they're in Birmingham at the O2 Academy. And on the 23rd of October, this is the second to last gig of the tour, they're in London at Alexandra Palace. And the final gig of that whole tour is the 25th of October, they're in Glasgow at the O2 Academy. So good luck, guys, on your current tour and this one coming. And I'm sure you'll be smashing it. And I hope they're going to do a gig when they get back, because imagine how tight and polished they're going to be after both these tours of Europe, Even though they're apart, they'll be pretty cooking by then. I'm sure they're already cooking, but, when I saw them, they were cooking, and that was their first gig together with the new lineup. Incredible. So get out there, and any of you people over in the UK later in the year, I'll probably give these dates, especially for the last tour again. Especially for there's a few. I think I've got a few viewers over in the UK who might want to go and see them. So I'll mention this again on a later video. Okay, now what else did I want to talk about? I was going to talk about recently. Getting back to, before I get into that, getting back to Rick Beato, you know, the king of music channel YouTubers. He's coming to Aotearoa. Yeah, he is. And which seems unusual, but he's never been here before, as far as I know. But he's only doing Auckland, which is a bit of a bummer. And it's in October. So he's going to be talking about music, answering questions. He's going to be playing his guitar. So I'm hoping I can get a ticket. I can't remember the date. I haven't bought one yet, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know. Will it sell out? I don't know. It's on at somewhere in the Sky Tower building. I don't know what sort of capacity that has or anything. But I better get my ticket. I've got to figure out how I'm going to get up there by then. But I want to go to that. Me being a music YouTuber and him being the king of music YouTubers. And I like Rick. I know some people critique aspects of what he does. I mean, whatever you do, you're going to get critique, right? You're always going to have your haters. But I think he does a brilliant job, and he's very clued up musically as well, because he plays guitar. He knows just about everything technically there is to know about music and theory and blah, blah, blah. On it goes. So I'm going to try and get over to that, right? So let's see. What else we got? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about a musician who's an old friend of mine, and he used to play in a band with my brother at high school. In fact, we go back a long way. Mark Laurent. Now, Mark Laurent is a guitarist, singer-songwriter. He mostly performs in public with his wife and partner Brenda Lydiard, and they often do duos together, although he does also jam with various other people on his own as well. And a lot of his stuff with Brenda, I don't know, it's sort of folk, bluesy, rootsy, I don't know how to describe it. But recently Mark put up a video on his Facebook page to do actually with a time he was in Europe a while back, and I don't know how long back it was. I think this was taken from a train, and he added a song called Distracted from his 2008 album Undergrowth. And I think I had heard it before, quite a long time ago. But unlike a lot of the more acoustic, folky, bluesy stuff Mark does on his own or with Brenda, this features a lot more electric guitar. And this track, to hear it again with this video was amazing. And so I went and checked out the album. It's called Undergrowth. And do I have a picture of the cover with me? Did I fail on that one? Let's have a look. Let me see. I may have failed on that front, but I could quite easily find it. Just give me a second. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's the album it's from his Bandcamp page. Okay, it's called Undergrowth. It's a great album. I really like it, and I'm gone back to listen to it today, and I love it because it's more electric guitar stuff than most of his more recent recordings. I mean, he has played electric guitar as a session a session artist on other people's albums. But this track I especially like, which was called Distracted, which is on the video he put on his Facebook page. I think he's got a YouTube page as well with Brendan. He's got one of his own stuff, so you may find it on there. But a real cool track, and there's quite a few other tracks I like on that. So go and check him out, and you know, give him a bit of love and support. You know, you can go to Bandcamp and listen to his albums, or download them and pay what you think they're worth. I don't know if it's got a set price on it. Knowing markets probably pay whatever. I don't know. You may even be able to buy the C off his Bandcamp CD. Sorry, I don't know, but really nice album, some beautiful guitar work on there. Okay, so more local stuff. Before I start talking about anything, I mean, other than Rick Beato, that is not from here. So, okay, so now I will go into talking about other stuff. And I've got a few recommendations here. Yeah, recommendations of stuff I've watched. And I think I'm going to do more of this. I'm not going to put the link down because if I do that, then maybe you won't even watch this. And I need more people to watch. Well, I want more people to watch. Otherwise, some people just go to the links, right? They don't even bother watching the video or whatever they... But anyway, what was I going to say? Well, I think now you can get summaries of most videos, or a lot of the dialogue in it. I know you can get a summary, but I don't know if it has everything. Anyway, so I recently watched 2 really interesting videos, and I want to talk about them a little bit, and I highly recommend them. So, on the subject of Rick Beato, he recently did an interview with a guy who's also a music interviewer, but he's done other stuff. He's done radio, TV, he's even done sports interviewing and broadcast, but he really loves doing interviews, and he's done sports radio, he's done TV. He's from Canada, right? So he's known as Strombo, right? And the interview is called, what's it called? It's called The OG of Music. Strombo, the OG of Music. So there you go. There's telling you about the link already without having it down below. But you can go and watch that if you don't want to hear any more of me babbling on. I found it fascinating because I'm a music YouTuber, right? So I didn't know about this guy. I'd never heard of him. My sister, who used to live in Canada most of her life, she knew of him. So he's very well known in Canada, and he still lives there. I think he's based in Toronto. Fascinating guy. The things, what I did like about him when I watched the interview, one of the things I'll say is that he's one of these guys that, I mean, he's interviewed a lot of mainstream people, but he's often got, most of his life, he's kind of gone after people before they get well known, and he looks for new bands and stuff like that. And he's even had musos come to his home and do gigs, right? And randomly, this is amazing. He's randomly gone off down the street or somehow just rung up people last minute and got an audience in. And I think it's been filmed, or he's got a YouTube channel. His real name, I haven't even looked it up yet, is George Strombulopoulos. Sounds Greek. I think he could be part Greek. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, so I apologise to all my Greek people out there. But you know, he's known as Strombo. He's famous in Canada, and so yeah, go and check him out, and go and check the interview out. It'll really give you an insight into what he does. That's a Really interesting. Well, it's interesting for me, but you might, if you're a music lover, you'll probably find it interesting. I think it's cool. And I guess go and check his. I don't know what his YouTube channel is called. It's probably called Strombo or something. I haven't looked it up yet. Okay. Now, the other, and it's a recent interview. The one with Rick Beato. It's not that old. And another very recent interview that I watched. It's probably only 2 or 3 days old. Is there's a guy that's and I forgot the host's name. He's got a channel called Trackstar, and mostly I've watched him do where he interviews quite well-known musicians in the street, and they're wearing headphones, and he plays tracks, and they've got to guess what it is, right? I mean, he ties it in with stuff he thinks they might know, and some of it's like way back before some of them were born, but he's pretty sure they'll know this stuff because it's kind of stuff that may have influenced them or whatever. And it's very interesting. He interviews all sorts of people and not really mainstream pop artists, but other people, And he recently, he's gone into actually interviewing them in his studio. And or maybe this has been going on for a while, but I just haven't seen it. And it's called the Trackstar Podcast, right? So very recently, he interviewed the famous, incredible drummer and filmmaker, Questlove. I've forgotten Questlove's real name, Amuri something, last name Thompson. Now, you'll know him from playing in the band, if you don't know much about Questlove, from is it not the Jimmy Fallon show? Is it the Jimmy Fallon? God, I get mixed up. Yeah, he's the late night band in the Jimmy Fallon show. Sometimes I get mixed up with that. It's not the Stephen Colbert show. So he's the drummer in that band, the house band in that show you see on TV. I think he still does it. I'm not sure. But recently he's been, this interview is really interesting, because recently he's made a film, a documentary on the amazing Earth, Wind and Fire. Yes. And I think it's just come out or is coming out in the USA, and hopefully we'll get to see it here or online or something soon. It sounds amazing. He talks a lot about that and is asked a lot about that. But he also talks about his own, kind of musical history, growing up as a kid, his music his parents introduced him to, all sorts of stuff. I found it really, really interesting. So if you like that sort of thing, you'll really enjoy. He's just a likeable, interesting guy. He's done other amazing docos. He did the one on Sly Stone, and there's another one before that. He did the one on, if I got this right, did he do the one on an old, he did one about an old music festival that was around I think he did that as well, in Harlem in the late 60s. It sort of went under the radar a bit because it was on around the same year as Woodstock, and it had a lot of black artists at it, like Sly Stone, although they had white people in their band. It wasn't exclusively black artists, but I think it was filmed in Harlem, and it featured a lot of people, a lot of black artists from that area. But anyway, he's done those. They were amazing. I've seen them both. I think they're both on. Are they on Disney Plus of all things? Yeah, maybe the new one will come out on that. I don't know. It'll come out on something. But anyway, this Earth, Wind and Fire doco sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. If you're a big fan, I mean, they're an incredible band. I haven't really dealt, to be honest. I mean, I did have one of their albums. I think it was the live one. I haven't got into their stuff deeply, and I want to more and more, especially after seeing this. I'm sure the doco will make me, but I've always admired them as a band. Incredible. So diverse and so different and unique. Now, so that's on the Trackstar podcast on YouTube. It's very recently come out. Go check it out. I've got one more. My old favourite, one of my favourite YouTubers outside Rick Beato is the controversial and often unedited and often bizarre and weird, funny, but can be real serious, the amazing English Andy Edwards, who I truly love. He's not everyone's cup of tea. He's a bit out there. He's had his fair share of controversy, and even I don't agree with everything Andy says. But hey, you know, I love what he does. But hey, who does? I mean, do you know anyone in your life that like all the music you like and like all the politics that you like? That's a pretty rare thing, you know. How often does that happen? So, you know, but what I like about Andy, he makes these crazy videos, these funny videos that no one else would think of making. Well, his new one of his new ones is called Too Old to Rock and Roll. And it questions that theory as you get old, like to my age or even younger. I think Andy's younger than me. He's only in his late 50s. Is he 58, 59? He goes through 10 reasons to test, you know, and if you tick the box on these, then maybe you're too old to rock and roll. It's so funny. It's hilarious. It's so good. And you know, even though it's funny, there's like all of it has an element of truth to it. That's the ironic thing. So well done. Thanks, Andy. And for those of you who don't know, Andy Edwards, his claim to fame, if you like, and he talks about this sometimes, but he doesn't like push it to the fore, and he even jokes about it. He was the drummer with one of Robert Plant's bands. Were they called Band of Joy, or was that another band? But he toured 2 separate years quite extensively with Robert and got to know him really well. And I mean, he's from an area not far from Birmingham called, I think it's called Kidderminster. Robert Plant, Led Zepp, Black Sabbath, they're all from Birmingham, you know. So they're all from that kind of area. He says so. He takes chances, Andy. Like he said stuff about Robert Plant on this video. I won't tell you what it is. And he goes, but later on he goes, oh, Robert probably won't let me play with him now after this, you know. So he takes chances, you know. He's very bold and he's courageous, more so than any other YouTuber I know. And what I like about Andy, he's got this thing about, you know, his version of true democracy. You know, if you don't agree with other people's politics, and I don't want to bring politics into my channel, but doesn't mean you can't listen to their views. Don't just write them off. And I like that. I like that concept, you know. Always keep an open mind. Sometimes the people that you hate the most might say something that you think, well, even if you do hate them or hate most of what they do, they might come out with the odd thing that either helps you understand why they are like they are, or sometimes it's actually something now, oh, that's not a bad idea. So you know, that's another reason I like him. Andy Edwards. Look him up on YouTube. I'm giving you a heads up, Andy. I don't know if he watches my channel. He did say to me way back when we became friends, I sent him a message and I asked him, this is before he really started, you know, blowing up on YouTube. I mean, he's nothing like Rick Beato, but he's still getting a good following and managing mostly to make a living out, full-time living out of it. He said, I asked him, I said, would you be prepared to come on my channel? And he said, yeah, no problem. Well, I don't know whether that's changed. I haven't asked him that. I still talk to him, not that often. He's pretty busy now with his channel, doing it full-time, or doing it, you know, as a full-time income thing. But hopefully you will, and that would be very interesting. Would have to do it by Zoom, unless I end up going over there. I can't see him coming here. But there you go. So am I going to end on that? I probably am. There's a lot of other stuff I want to talk about, but this video is already 50 minutes. It's well and truly long enough. Well, I hope you enjoyed me doing this, and I hope for you subscribers and people who watch have enjoyed me back talking to camera again, because it's I'm just so unregular with it, and I want to do more of it. But other than that, I want to do more of it. I've got a backlog of live videos that I want to put up, and I just never get around to it. So if I aren't talking to camera, I'll try and get more than those up. I can't promise anything, but doing this makes me so happy. And it's not about I make no money on my channel. I'm a long way from getting monetized, but it's not why I do it. I do it because it makes me happy and makes me feel good for my whole being, especially my mental health. I put a lot of time, believe it or not, in preparing this video, and even though it seemed I was all over the place, and taking a while to look at my notes and stuff, but I put a lot of time into getting prepared for this, which sometimes I don't do, and it was probably still a bit messy, but I enjoyed it, and I feel really good that I've got another one out there. And especially for you people that subscribe or watch regularly, and if you are a regular, there's I know this is an old line, if you are a regular watcher, please subscribe if you haven't already. That will help me get there, and it will inspire me. I do get inspired even when I get one extra subscriber. I go, oh, well, that's cool. And it inspires me to do more videos. I think, well, shit, I better do more. I think I'm only up to about 775 subscribers. I mean, I think you have to get to at least 1,000, at least, permanent subscribers, and then you've got to get so many views per month before they even start looking at monetizing you. So there you go. I'm a long way off. But, if more people subscribe, the more videos I'm going to do. I'm going to try and do them anyway, but the more I'm going to do regularly. So you'll have some more stuff to look forward to. Okay, that's it for now. It's goodbye from me. Ka kite. Ka kite. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.